What is up, guys? William here from fitnessforbackpain.com. We are talking about running with back pain. So if you are a runner, if you would like to get back into running and your pain is holding you back, if you try to go out there and within 5 minutes of running, your pain kicks in and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on because you want to get back to running because you love running. Today's video is for you. I'm really excited to deliver it. Now we're gonna be talking about a few different topics. We're gonna go through them pretty quick, so I wanna make sure that you get all the information that you need. If you want to expand on what we talk about here today with actionable things, right? There's gonna be a few things that we talk about. I wanna make sure that you get a hold of this back pain workshop because it's gonna dive in deeper to the topics that we talk about today. So you can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop, and that is your best first step. If you're like, dude, I wanna run, I'm in pain, but every time I try to run, it doesn't work out for me. What should I do? This is what you should go watch. Go check out this back pain workshop. It's not boring, it's not stupid, it's not a bunch of stretches. It's gonna give you good information that you can take action on right now, remove the things that are causing pain, and actually put you on a path to get back to running, okay? So if you want that, check out fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop. So the first point I wanna make when it comes to running with back pain or trying to get back to running, but you can't because back pain is ruling your life right now, it's core strength. Now, there's a lot of different reasons why back injuries hold people back from doing things like running. There's a lot of reasons why you experience back pain. But one of the most important that we're gonna start with is building more endurance, stability, and strength in the core. Now, there's a lot of areas of running where the core tends to break down. One obvious one is distance running. Most people don't run to the end of their driveway and back to their front door. Most people don't like that kind of running. They want to run for miles, miles and miles and miles. Well, one of the best things you can do when you are a distance runner is to be efficient. Efficiency allows you to save energy, put the energy into the distance of your run. So when it comes to core strength, oftentimes you see with runners is they kind of get into this broken position over time to where their low back, they tend to start anterior tilting their pelvis, their butt sticking out, their low back is engaged, and their core tends to be a little bit rounded. And that's an extreme example of what it actually looks like. But that's what's happening. They're kind of getting into this habitual position of just survival so they can continue their running for the distance that they want to do. We want to regain better position, build stability, build strength, and build endurance in the core. So the first place you need to be looking is if you love to run, but you're not a fan of working out and lifting weights, you've got to put more emphasis on core training. But not just any old core training, you've got to do it right. So I'm gonna give you an example of a really cool exercise here today, but if you want a guide that you can look at now and take action on, you can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/core blueprint, and that'll give you more information on what you should be doing for your core. All right, so let me show you really quick an exercise that's gonna combine core strength and hip strength, glute training all in one. So it's kind of like a plank and a glute bridge combined. What we're gonna do is just like you would do a hip thrust where you're engaging and starting from the hips and pushing up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in the element where we're really trying to hit the core and the hip stability at the same time. And how we're gonna do that is we're going to come up here and we're gonna add one leg going straight. What you wanna make sure you're not doing is having your leg down like this, that's kind of weird, or having it too far up. I suggest you keep it in line with both legs so your knees are on the same level. If you're starting to sag or twist, you'll know kind of where your weakness is at. So what you can do is have your leg already out here. I'm gonna press with this leg here. I'm gonna initiate the movement first with my glute. Drive, 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 drive. Kind of looking down and making sure my leg is in line with my other leg that's driving from the ground. So from here, my hip and my glutes are on, my abs are on just to keep myself from falling over and allowing gravity to kind of pull me out of position. Second reason why you could be potentially having low back pain with running, or a strategy that you can take to navigate back pain while you run, is stop heel striking when you run. Now there's a whole like slew of people who follow a very specific method of running. You can research it, there's books on it. It's all things getting off of our heels when we run and walk and putting ourselves more on our forefoot to run and walk and do the activities that engage us forward. Now, there's a lot of ups and downs, pros and cons to forefoot running or forefoot walking. I personally am a big fan of being as natural as possible. I'm a big fan of specific shoes that I would run in or just do daily life in. And that's something that you can always dive into when it comes to the type of shoes that you wear and what allows your toes to spread out and be more natural or closer to the ground. Now, the topic I really want you to kind of start thinking on is the way you're running, right? If we're heel striking, that's a lot of pressure and a lot of jarring on the actual heel that's gonna go up into our legs, and our low back, odds are, is going to take that load. Now, obviously we want to, when doing something like running or something high impact like that, we want our bodies to absorb the stress as evenly as possible. There's no perfect way of doing it, but when you forefoot run, the idea of it is that you have more shock absorption opportunity when doing the higher impact activities such as running. Now, I will say, if you are saying, hey, this heel striking thing versus the forefoot running thing, it seems kind of interesting, I want to dive into it. It's gonna really depend on the shoes that you wear. It's gonna be easier to do and practice forefoot running or walking or any kind of movement outside of heel striking with the right kinds of shoes. Now, if you were to go to a box store and buy shoes, they're gonna have a thick, squishy heel. They might be for stability, they might be for comfort, whatever they fit you for, odds are it's gonna be a traditional running shoe with a big heel. We wanna get away from those. So you wanna look at different types of running shoes. LEMS has a lot of great shoes you can check out. Ultra running shoes, you can check those out. I'll leave links to those stores in the description box below. Lots of different brands you can check out. So if you wanna go natural, if you wanna try forefoot walking, running out, you wanna start experimenting with that, go check out those brands of shoes. Do not wear your normal running shoes. You can even start with no shoes. Just walk around your backyard, run around your backyard in your grass with no shoes on. The next area of focus you wanna have is on your glutes. I say this a lot. The hips are the powerhouse of the body. A lot of the force transfers and everything that's kind of going through your body when you do activity, it's in the hips and low back. If the hips are not being supportive, then the low back's gonna take it. Your body's gonna compensate and overwork in other areas where other areas are falling behind. And oftentimes when it comes to distance runners, their glutes are just not there. They're not asleep, they don't have amnesia. They just need to build stronger glutes. They need to build stronger hips, because ultimately, if while they're running and they're doing their stride and they're doing what they should be doing with good form, then if they're not doing that, what's gonna take the load? The low back. So if you are running and having issues with a tight, tense, chronically stiff low back, whether you're in the run currently or it's post-run, you've got to look at these things. And an area that you can focus on, if you know that you don't really exercise much, or you know that your glutes are just not something that you think about when it comes from a strength standpoint, spend time building strength in the glutes. Another interesting thing to look at when it comes to low back pain and running is what you're choosing to run on. If you have the habit of running solely on a treadmill, I would encourage you to get off the treadmill and add in more dynamic runs. Because if you think about it, the treadmill is really doing all of the work when it comes to propelling you forward. As that belt is moving, it's taking over some of the activity of the muscles that would normally be pulling you along a street. Posterior chain, hips, glutes, the entire lower body. So when your belt is moving fast and you're just trying to keep on the belt, you're not trying to fall off or hurt yourself, it's kind of taking over some of the activity because you're not having to push that hard to propel yourself. It's minimizing the work that's being done on your body. So if you think about running outside on the street is very dynamic. Streets are not always level. Sometimes they go uphill, sometimes they go downhill, sometimes they're at an angle. Like, they're just always different. So if you are a die-hard treadmill runner, one option that you have if you have low back pain or tension after running or during running is to take your run outside. The last point I want to make when it comes to running with low back pain is all about progression, right? When I look at strength training for someone who has a persistent low back pain or has some kind of pain issue, progression is everything. You've got to find your entry point into your activity and then work up from there. Case in point, if you want to go for a run and you're like, you know what, before my back injury, I could run 5 miles and it was a breeze. What you have to look at now is, now that you're getting back into running, or now that you have pain at a 5-mile run, you've got to whittle this back. And the hard part is sticking to you withdrawing that length and starting from a smaller, shortened, more condensed, controllable distance of a run. So if that's running for 5 minutes, and that's, you know, after 5 minutes, your pain starts kicking in, well, for that 5 minutes, I want you to focus on the things that we talked about today. Have you been training your core? Great. Won't you use it? Activate it. See if it's on. See if your low back is taking over during that 5 minutes. Have you been working on your hips and glutes? Let me know how it feels. Can you feel your hips and glutes engaging and taking the load as you're running? Are you heel striking versus running on your forefoot? During those 5 minutes, practice that forefoot running, and it's gonna be an opportunity for you to get out there, start running, challenging your brain, but also getting over the fear of being back on the road running again. Now, once you can do that 5 minutes and your pain level is below a 4, max 4 out of 10 pain level, then you can increase your run, but you don't want to do it too quickly. And that's gonna depend on each individual person. So there's not a rubric to follow that says, okay, if you can run 5 minutes, then you're ready for 8 minutes. It's nothing like that. You have to go off of your specific story, your specific situation and circumstances that you live with. Start with 5 minutes, then go to 8 minutes, see if that works. If it's a distance thing, start with half a mile, then a mile, then 2 miles, and work up from there, giving yourself the opportunity to rest. And that's one of the most important things of injuries when it comes to low backs and when it comes to doing something that you really love, that is high energy output, like exercising or running or whatever you might be doing. Eventually, if you push and push and push yourself, the tissues are gonna become more and more susceptible to injury unless you give your body the right opportunity to rest. That means days off. That means not going for a shorter run, but just literally taking days off where you're not doing any kind of activity, in this case, running. That's gonna allow your muscles to heal, to recover, to get stronger, to build resilience back, so that when you go back out to run, that's when you can earn that 6-minute run, that 7, 8, 10-minute run, versus always sticking at 5 minutes and running for 5 minutes every single day, 7 days a week. You don't wanna do that. So that's it. I hope that gave you something to kind of chew on, to think about, to consider, to maybe take into some practice. Just some strategies that you can start focusing on instead of just like being bummed out and sitting at home because you can't run. How can you take action on some of the things that we talked about? If you know one of the areas we talked about today is a bad area for you, let me know in the comment section. Let me know which area it was. Is it the glutes? Is it the core training? Is it the heel striking versus the forefoot running? Is it the treadmill running? Let me know what your experience has been in the comment section. Love hearing from you guys. And again, if you have not gotten that workshop or watched that workshop and you're wanting to apply a lot of the things that we talked about today, specifically for low back pain, check out fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop. I appreciate you, love you, and I'll see you in the next episode.